Time next for our science segment, and today we're looking at the use of trained dolphins during wartime. Now, aerial images show that Russia appears to have doubled the size of dolphin pens inside the port of Sevastopol in Crimea. And for more on this, we're joined by Julia Seeger. So, Julia, first of all, it may come as a surprise to some people that Russia is using dolphins in this way in the first place, but why did Russia decide to increase the number of trained dolphins?
Well, first, Monty, let's look at those aerial pictures that we have here. They were taken by the American Naval Institute, and they show indeed that pens were increased. You're seeing it on the bottom left side of your screen there. Now, experts also claim that the number of dolphins and belugas has increased from 4 to 7. Now, there was already a training center for dolphins and belugas just outside the port, and that dated back to the Soviet era. And the Soviet Union and the United States historically are known to have used dolphins not only to clear enemy sea mines, but also used as sentinels to protect port facilities and also to place bombs on submarines, for instance. We know today that there are also sea lions that are trained to do what we call object retrieval, and you're going to see a picture here of a sea lion in California who is training to attach a recovery line to a training target. Maybe we can see that picture of the sea lion. In any case, there you can see it training and really able to position something on a device. Now, in any case, the port of Sevastopol, dolphins there are going to be used to defend Russians from what we call combat swimmers. And what they're used for, these combat swimmers that you can see here, is that they tend to infiltrate ports and place explosive devices on for instance, boats. Now, marine mammals are very interesting because they can swim very fast for long periods of time and because they have sonars that are very, very effective in detecting objects hundreds of meters away, for instance, mines. Now, the Russian program also includes belugas, and this is why a couple of weeks ago you may have heard about the beluga Vladimir, who is considered as a Russian spy. Now, he was accused of being a Russian spy. He was first spotted in 2019, and he was wearing a harness that you can see here on those pictures, and on it was a tag saying equipment from St. Petersburg, and this is why he was described as being a Russian spy. There was also another harness on which a camera could have been placed, and this information has been denied, but it's true that intelligence services are looking to place cameras on animals to be able to really have better pictures. You have a picture here of a dolphin in California with a camera on his pectoral fin that you can see here. So he's being trained in the United States. Now, the United States has another program that was developed by DARPA, which is, the Pentagon's military research agency. It's called PALS. And the idea here is to put sensors on fish to detect submarines.
Yeah, I find all of this quite fascinating and troubling at the same time.
It is indeed.
Now, this phenomenon, it's not new. I mean, animals have been used during wartime before, right?
Of course. World War I, World War II, we used a lot of kamikaze animals. So, for instance, you had mine-clearing sheep, you had horses carrying soldiers, you had dogs delivering messages, and you also had pigeons that you can see here with these cameras attached to them, harnessed. And you're going to see in just a minute there aerial pictures that were taken by pigeons during World War II, and this is the city of Frankfurt. Now, perhaps even more astonishing story, Monty, is the story of Private Wojtek. This is a bear that participated in World War II, and he became very close to the artillery unit. He helped them carry weapons and in their training sessions as well, and he was officially enlisted in the army, officially for administrative reasons, but still. And he really became a huge war hero in Poland. You can see statues of this bear everywhere across the country. The most outrageous project, though, is perhaps the CIA's Project X-Ray during World War II. And here, the idea was to drop bats, that were carrying these small explosive devices, and they were put in these cans. And the idea was to try to drop these bats over strategic areas in Japan. Now, it was actually dropped by the Air Force because they found that the project was way too eccentric to favor another project that you may know, the Manhattan Project, that gave way to the atomic bomb, of course. Now, it's important to remember that here we're at a time during the American psychologists Skinner and Ivan Pavlov were developing conditioning, and they were experimenting on animals to try to see if indeed we could train them to do pretty much anything.
Well, and the question, always is why, but special forces, they turn to animals because one tends to be less suspicious of animals. They also can access places that humans cannot.
Who would suspect a cat, right? Well, there's a project from the CIA called Acoustic Kitty Operation, and here they tried to implement microphones and radio transmitters into the brain of the cat. Poor thing, he underwent so many different surgeries, and it actually was a mayhem. In the end, he was supposed to go inside a Russian embassy to eavesdrop on conversations, but he was hit by a taxi, and that was like $20 million that went down the drain, and of course a lot of operations for this poor cat. Now, another interesting aspect is the fact that animals are much more agile, and we showed you in this documentary on France 24 these eagles that are used to intercept drones, and you can see the agility here and the precision of these eagles that we cannot match yet with technology.
Yeah. Animals are innocent. So it's, when you think about these things, that's what makes it so troubling, right?
It is indeed very troubling.
To be used in this way. Okay, Julia, fascinating at any rate. Thanks so much.